this tutorial we're gonna see how we can populate a matrix. So we're gonna basically take the number of rows and number of columns from the user, and then we're gonna create a random matrix. So in this case you're gonna see how we can use nested loops. Also, before that, I wanted to show you this really cool trick. Let's just say I write something and then I create some numbers and then some matrix. I don't know, 2 comma 5 maybe, and then again I create some random negative and positive both kind of matrix. And now let me do it once again. Okay, so what happens, you see all this command window is filled. What I want to do is I don't want to delete all this thing, but still I want my cursor to be here, to start from here, so that I can type at the top. What I can type is home, and this will bring the cursor at the top, as you can see. And now if you scroll down, you'll see there are all those numbers. But if I but if I CLC, it clears everything. You cannot scroll up and see your whatever previous numbers you had on the screen. So yeah, home is a good way. Okay, anyways, let's populate the matrix. So let's just ask number of rows in column. Let's just say that the number of rows is take input from the user. How many rows, sir? Number of rows, please. Okay. Oh shit, I should create a file. Come on. Okay. Okay, so let's populate a matrix. I'm gonna create a matrix. Let's just say pop matrix. Yeah, that sounds good. Pop matrix. Okay. And we're gonna take inputs from the user. Let's just say let's just first ask number of rows. How many number of rows do you want? Keep it simple. Number of rows. And then columns. How many number of columns do you want? Come on. Number of columns. Okay, so we know number of rows, we know number of columns. What I'm going to do, using this number of rows and this number of column, I'm going to create a matrix that has this number of rows, this number of column, but all the elements in it are 0. So let's just say pop matrix. No, I'm just gonna call it mat, or maybe matrix, equal to zeros, and this has to have similar number of rows and columns. Why don't we sort that? I'm gonna call it calls, because that would be maybe easier. Okay, I don't want to see the output, so suppress the output, and then let's just populate. So in order to populate, what I'm gonna do is, let me show you what it does. Let me run this. Okay, number of rows, let's just say 4. Number of column, let's just say 2. Okay, and let's see what matrix MATLAB has created. So see, it creates 4 rows and 2 column matrix, and all these elements are 0. What I want to do now, I want to select this particular row first, and then this column, and fill some number here, and then I want to change that column from first to second, but row I'm going to keep that constant. So I'm going to change that column from 1 to 2, and that way I'll be in this cell, and that's where I'm going to create and fill the new random number. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the row as well as column. So next time I'm going to keep the row number 2, column number 1, and then I'm going to change column number 2, but the row keeps unchanged. So that's how the loop is going to be. Let me show you what I mean. For row ranging from 1 to number of rows, whatever it is, and so this loop is going to basically select row number 1 for the first loop, for the first run, and then in that first row there are many columns. There are going to be many columns, right? So let's just go through those columns. So the column will go from 1 to whatever is number of columns. So this is how you would select like first. So in the first case, first row R is gonna be 1, C is gonna be 1. That means you are in the first cell, first row, first column. And what do you want to fill at that cell, in that cell? Well, what I want to fill in that cell, R comma C. Yeah, that's the address of that particular cell, right? And there I want to fill some random number. Let's say randomly generated number. Okay, fill that thing there. And then end, that's it, done. And of course display the matrix. Let's see, number of rows. How many number of rows do I want? Maybe 4, 8. Okay, so you can see that this has generated 4 by 8 matrix, you see. And all those numbers, you can see it is basically random. Like the same matrix can be generated using rand-n function, but I want to show you how you can like not just create a matrix that has numbers like just okay. So all of these are positive and negative, and you can see that most of the numbers, they are like close to 1. But what if I want to create like really like numbers that range from 0 to maybe some 15 or 20? What you can do is you can multiply this random negative with some number, let's just say 30. And what it will do, it will now populate your matrix with the numbers ranging from 0 to 30. In that case, I should take this n out. Okay, number of rows is going to be, let's just say 4 and then 2 maybe. And let me show you my matrix. You see, all those numbers are going to be between 0 and 30. And it creates the matrix of the dimension that we want. Okay, so this was basically to show you how you can use a nested loop and how you can take input from the user and of course generate or populate a matrix.